Asking, "Are we there yet?" concerning your mom journey is as helpful as hearing that from your child on a long road trip. So in episode 34, we're shifting our perspective to what really matters. I have a quick question for you. Did you know your womanhood has everything to do with your childhood? Think about it. What you did or didn't get growing up informs how you show up and move through life today. Women like me who struggled with insecurity and tried to compensate with perfectionism found the truths in my book Daddy's Girl Forever liberating. And the audiobook is now available on Audible. For a free copy of Daddy's Girl Forever and a free 30-day trial to enjoy other books on Audible, head to bit.ly/DGF audio. That's bit.ly/DGF audio. No matter your age, being a daddy's girl never gets old. Now back to the show. This is Motherhood Unmasked, the podcast for real talk about the challenges moms face. I'm your host, Vanessa Harris, but you are the hero. I'm grateful to connect with you today. Hey there, Mama Bear. Vanessa here with compassion, candor, and clarity for you, the mom who's grateful for Mother's Day, but could use one 4 times a year. I'm so happy you're joining me today. Listen, in episode 33, we talked about the importance of celebrating along the way, something we seldom do as women. Our husbands and our children benefit from our cheerleading over their tiniest accomplishments. And then we get stingy with ourselves and hold off all celebration until we have arrived, wherever that is. We do it as women, and we certainly do it as moms. You know, for as long as I can remember, I've made a point of telling my kids I love them regularly. I aim for every child every day, but that's not a rule as much as a guide. Because although there are 5 different love languages, I think if you had to default to one consistently, it would be words of affirmation. And there's nothing more affirming than telling your children you love them. Especially on those days they behave most unlovable. And I remember, you may too, the advice quoted from noted family therapist Virginia Sater, that we need 4 hugs a day for survival, 8 hugs a day for maintenance, and 12 hugs a day for growth. Now, if that were the recommendation for saying I love you, and I hosted a competition, my daughter would win hands down. That girl says I love you like she breathes air. She tells you personally, pauses to make sure you heard her, and if she's really flowing, she'll speak a quick blessing over you too. Her gift is ensuring the people around her feel seen, known, and loved, and our family thanks God for her. But one day it struck me just how much more she says it than I do, and I immediately got down on myself for not saying it more often. But before I went down that guilt rabbit hole too far, a still small voice reminded me it's a miracle I tell my kids I love them at all. I don't remember hearing I love you growing up. Not going off to school, not when I got home, not when I went to bed. I'd seen the word love written in a card for birthdays and Christmases. I saw it in how hard my parents worked to make sure I had all I needed and more, but it just wasn't said much in our family. And that fact didn't even occur to me till that very moment I felt condemned for not saying it more. Where am I going with this? That question, am I doing enough, is really a veiled way of asking yourself if you're a good mom. Because you look for evidence of it in the spectacular moments, like your child has straight A's, or she has her Girl Scout badges, or he has a full ride scholarship to college. You know, just like on family road trips, you're focused on that exit that lets you know when you're almost there. But when it's a 9-hour ride to grandma's house, focusing on that final exit is frustrating. And the kids asking, "Are we there yet?" every 5 minutes doesn't help either. So to make it bearable, you learn to savor the mile markers. You started noticing the billboards along the side of the road and the names of towns you pass on the way. And you made note of your favorite places to stop for gas and grab a bite to eat because they have the cleanest bathrooms. In the same way those little markers are evidence you're getting closer to where you're headed, the evidence you're a good mom getting better is in the little things. Like fixing her favorite meal when she's not feeling well, and then even lying down next to her till she falls asleep, not because you're a cuddler, but because it makes her feel loved. Or driving him to all his practices and showing up for his games when you've already had a long day at work. Or putting your computer down when he comes in the room, even though you're under deadline, because you can tell he needs to talk. Or telling her you love her every day because your soul wants to give her soul what yours never received. So, I changed my mind real quick from questioning myself for not doing more to thanking God for the miracle I tell them I love them at all. Saying and showing love may be routine for you, but something that small became a new normal in my family, a new normal that will impact generations to come. So, be kind to yourself. It's the little things, the small decisions you make day by day that's changing the trajectory of your family. So celebrate your mom wins, big and small. And that brings us to the segment of the show called Homework, the work a woman does to build her home and family. This week's homework is to think about something your children or other moms compliment you for. Something you didn't see growing up, or if you did, you tweaked it to accommodate your family's needs. Now think about how different your family's dynamic would be if you didn't make that choice. And then give yourself a round of applause. No, seriously, literally clap your hands like you did when your baby took his first 2 steps and then fell down. Remember that? Because while his 2 steps changed his world, your 2 steps changed the next generation. And that's worth celebrating. And I get it. A baby step in a new direction may not seem worth celebrating, or maybe a step that's harder for you to take than for someone else. But that's a matter of how you're wired naturally. My default is to look at change with a side eye. But maybe things staying the same makes you cringe. You thrive on new and different. Or maybe you're such a creature of habit, you only change when provoked by discomfort. Because we're wired differently, our view of progress and our attitude about it will be different. None of that's right or wrong, it's just how you're wired. And learning what makes you tick goes a long way in silencing guilt, experiencing self-acceptance, and seeing the best in others, especially your family. I'm working on an online course to help you do just that. So if understanding yourself and others to make for a more harmonious home life and life in general intrigues you, leave your email on my interest list so you're the first to know when the course is available. You can do so at vinelifefaith.com/podcast. That's vinelifefaith.com/podcast. I hope this episode encourages you to normalize celebrating growth over comparing journeys. You may not do something the way another woman does, but you're not on her journey, so that's not really the point. The point is, are you making progress on your journey? I'm cheering you on as you do, as I'm cheering for myself. And until next time, remember, when it comes to you being the mother of your children, you are the woman for the job. Take care. For all things Motherhood Unmasked, including fun and helpful resources and a link to leave me a message, check out vinelifefaith.com/podcast. Motherhood Unmasked is sponsored by Vine Life Faith, where we're breaking negative cycles and building healthy community through connection with Christ. vinelifefaith.com.